And I'm live. Greetings and hello. Today is Friday, the 18th of June. The year is 2025, and we're right now 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time zone. I'm in southeastern Ontario, coming to you today from my junk room. Normally, I'm sitting at my dining table, but today, when I do videos during the day, I often do them from the junk room. We used to call this the army room. That's an old surplus army cot in the back, Canadian flag. I'm wearing one of my old unit T-shirts, and this was from Valcartier, Quebec, where I was posted from 2011 to 2015, serving with for most of my time at Valcartier, I was with the field ambulance unit. This is 5e Ambulance de Campagne, 5th Field Ambulance. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the situation that's unfolding right now in the Middle East, particularly around Syria. I see that I've had my first person show up. Live stream just started. We'll see if I get much in the way of engagement. I haven't been publishing much content of late. Life has been busy. The summer is busy. I've spent some time down at Lake Ontario, which is not far from my house, down at a provincial park. uh, Try and tap out of this crazy busy world. Nancy Waltzer is here. If you don't mind telling me where you're from, I'd be curious to know. United States, Canada, Europe, whatever the case. Um, what's happening right now in Syria? South Florida, very good. Bless your heart. I got to throw that in. Uh, what's happening right now in Syria, many will have seen in the past couple days, within the last 48 hours or so. Israel launched attacks on the city of Damascus and military headquarter type buildings. And there's one where they show, I saw a video, not going to share any of the videos now. If you want to find them, they're out there all the time. Koji Malik, another Floridian, is here. Good to see you as well. Um, at any rate, Nancy, I'm not sure that Nancy has been here before, but I know Koji Malik has been. At any rate, yeah, there was an attack and they showed Syrian TV. A broadcaster was televising, and in the background, uh, and Nancy is leaving shortly for an appointment. No problem at all. Appreciate you stopping in. Hope you come back and check out the content. You're welcome to like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff that YouTubers always say. I guess I'm a YouTuber, although I'm a guppy in the YouTube space. I'm not Chuck Holton. I'm not Eric Stackelbeck. I'm not any. I don't Amir Tisfardi. I don't have a major footprint. I just like to inject my voice into this public discourse. So many will have seen the video of a large office-style building being pretty much demolished by all reports. It was a strike by the Israeli Air Force, and it said that they are launching these attacks in sympathy or in to assist the Druze population in Syria, which in Soweto, I can't even pronounce the name, Swata, some province, district, city in Syria has a rather significant Druze population, and they have apparently come under attack from Bedouin tribesmen as well as by forces attached with the Syrian regime of this HTS group that now rules Syria. And Israel has vowed to defend the minority Druze population in Syria. The Israelis themselves have a minority Druze population in Israel. I believe that in Israel, the Druze population is something in the neighborhood of 20 to 30,000 individuals. Apparently, the largest number of Druze live in Syria itself, and the total number of Druze worldwide is in the neighborhood of 7 to 800,000. And some may be wondering, I certainly was, what are Druze, D-R-U-Z or D-R-U-Z-E? He's American, seeing as Nancy and Koji Malik are both American. Canadians, we say Z for the last letter of the alphabet, not Z, but whatever the case. Um, the Druze are an offshoot, from what I've read, this is just going through Wikipedia and things like that. The Druze are something of an offshoot of the Shia branch of Islam. Islam has two primary divisions, Shia and Sunni. According to the Shia, which are primarily centered in Iran, the Shia ideology holds that religious authority rests with those who are of blood descent from Muhammad's relatives. From what I understand, Muhammad didn't have any children himself, and so these are nephews. I think it's through family lineage lines that Muhammad had nephews, and so the Shia contend that religious authority rests with those who have a blood relational link to their who they call the Prophet Muhammad, whereas the Shia, by contrast, they believe that it's more of a religious spiritual calling, and that you do not need to have a blood family lineal relationship with Muhammad to speak or to have religious authority within the Islamic faith. So those are the two principal divisions. And then this Druze group somewhat broke away from the Shia branch of Islam, and they incorporated other aspects to their religion, their faith. They believe in apparently they believe in reincarnation, and that's about as deep as I got into it. So they could be considered somewhat Abrahamic in terms of when we talk about the Abrahamic religions, we're talking about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all lay claim to having Abraham as a common patriarch, as it will, if you will. So the Druze likewise recognize Abraham, Muhammad, or rather Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Um, they recognize Jesus as a prophet, not as the Son of God, not as God incarnate, and then the Druze likewise recognize that they consider Muhammad a prophet as well, but they believe that, I guess, the Shia brand of Islam lost its way, and that they're following the true way of they probably think they're following the true Islam, whatever the case. Again, anyone popping into the chat, you're welcome to fill it up. Uh, the so that's what Israel is saying that it is doing in attacking Syrian armed forces, is that they are endeavoring to protect the Druze minority in this Sweda, or however it's pronounced, city, province, district of Syria. And now that brings in another element which is far more significant, and that is the nation state of Turkey. Turkey is the seat of the old Ottoman Empire, which collapsed after World War One. For 400 or 500 years, there was a degree of stability in the Middle East because the Ottomans there was a structure. When we look at the Levantine coast, the land that is called, by some is called Israel, by some is called Palestine, put whatever label you want on it, the Holy Land. That region of the world was governed by the Ottomans for 400 to 500 years. I forget exactly whether we're going back to the 14 or 1500s, but it's in that area, 400 or 500 years. And then after the Turkish Ottoman Empire collapsed after World War One, after they were defeated, it's since that time that we've had war after war after war. And it hasn't always involved Israel. There are wars going on constantly in the Middle East vying for control. And Turkey, having been a major world power, and now, as things stand today, 2025, the nation state of Turkey has the second largest military in NATO. They are part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. They're a NATO country, so they're a U.S. ally, but they're they're far larger than, say, Iran, with whom Israel was at war or has been at war or is at war. I still think of them as being in a state of war. Just hostilities have calmed down a bit, but now we have um, Turkey, which is to the north of Syria. It must be remembered that it was the Turks, the former Ottomans, who were backing this HTS group, which toppled the regime of Bashir al-Assad and forced him into exile. And now he's living somewhere in Russia. I almost said the Soviet Union. So Bashir al-Assad was forced to leave Dodge. HTS has taken over. They are by many regarded to be an extremist Shia Islamic group, and they are apparently abetting the attack on Druze minority populations in Syria. Israel is coming to their defense. Israel is conducting operations that are designed, it appears on the surface, that they are designed to diminish or eliminate Syria's military capacity. And the question that has to be begged is, how is Erdogan, that's the president of Turkey, Erdogan is kind of how you would, if you were to read the name, it's spelled Erdogan, but in Arabic, the letter G is not pronounced the way that we pronounce it in English. So the way I've heard the name pronounced for the leader of Turkey, the president, is Erdogan. And Erdogan was behind HTS taking over Syria. They are his ally. They are his kind of his proxy force, if you will. And how is he going to feel about Israel diminishing their capacity to rule over Syria? Is there potential for Turkey to move in and start to occupy territory themselves in alliance or taking directly over from HTS? Shrunian is here and saying something with which I do not agree totally at all. Shrunian is writing that, saying hello, and definitely that he definitely wants the summer to be over. Not I, not I. In Canada, where I live, we have 4 seasons, and the 4 seasons are almost winter, winter, still winter, and construction. So I'm not with you there. Bring on the heat. The older I get, the greater my tolerance for heat becomes. I enjoy hot, sweltering weather, certainly far more, exponentially more than the winter when it's freezing. So bring on the heat. Global warming, yay! That should irritate some people. Koji Malik is writing that she is also in Florida, as I mentioned, because I know that Koji Malik's been on the stream many times, and Koji Malik used to be in Palm Beach County and now is in Hendry County. You're going into more of the geography of Florida than I know. I don't know the names of the counties. I know there's Dade County. It's about the only county I could name. Now, I didn't even know Palm Beach was a county, and I have no idea. I've never heard of Hendry before, but regardless. So what's going to happen? I think there's very much, I talk in the description, I wrote in the description to this video that we seem to be on a trajectory of taking 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 4 steps forward, 3 steps back. There's this hesitating but steady progression towards escalating conflict in the Middle East. And it's almost like the baton is being passed. Iran was the main force going up against Israel. Israel is something of the dominating power in the Middle East, and everyone seems to want to knock them down. Everyone's vying to be the top dog in the Middle East. I have in previous videos, I've often compared it to the old Godfather saga, the Godfather book and movies, where you have a pecking order of families in New York City. You have the Corleone family on top. That would be Israel. And then there's the Barzini family and the Titalia family and Strachey and all the other families. But no one questions that the Corleones are on top, but that means they have a target on them. And if you're familiar with the movie, one of the most popular, it's pretty much in everyone's top 10 list. Anyone who's seen it, certainly film critics, the Corleone family has a target on it, and Barzini uh, basically employs the Titalia family, uses them as a proxy to try and take out the Corleones, the Corleone family. And that's the way I see the Middle East playing out. You have Israel as the top dog, as the Corleone family, to extend the metaphor. And Iran was playing the role for a time of Barzini, and they had their proxy forces of Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, Islamic Jihad. They had these groups trying to destabilize and bring down Israel. But now, by all accounts, Iran, I'm not going to get into whether Iran, it depends who you listen to. There are commentators out there saying that Iran's capacity to wage war against Israel has been, set back 10 years. It's basically non-existent now. There are others who say, oh, no, 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 Iran is still a sleeping giant and they have lots of capacity. But it seems to me that the baton is being passed from Iran, and potentially that it's going to be Turkey that picks up the baton. And when we look at the Middle East, um, man, oh man, you talk about, the Saudis like to think of, so many different countries, so many different parts of the Middle East were the dominant players. Egypt under the Mamluks, they had the time where they were the dominating power. The Persians had, which is Iran, they had their time as the dominating power. Um, Turkey with the Ottoman Empire, they had their time as the dominating power. And this little tiny sliver of land called Israel, or Palestine, if you like, this little sliver of land was always the property of one of those dominating regional powers. It was either under the control of the Persians, under the Arabian Caliphate, under control of the Egyptian Mamluks, under control of the Turkish Ottomans, and now Israel, having come into existence in 1948, 1949, after that first Arab-Israeli war. Now, it is certainly the militaristic power in the region, although it's incredibly tiny, not only in size, but in terms of population. And yet they punch far above their weight, and they are the dominating military power in the region. And I am certain that in the Islamic world, in the Middle Eastern Islamic world, that is not looked upon favorably. Iran wants they want to be the dominating power. Egypt has elements that want to be the dominating power. The Turks, everyone is vying to be top dog in the region. I've got Koji Malik putting a further point on where Palm Beach, saying that is that's Trump's county. I guess that's where Mar-a-Lago is, I guess. A lot happening with the Donald, obviously. That man is never out of the news cycle. He knows how to dominate the press. And now the latest story is that the Wall Street Journal has published what they done a story reporting that on Jeffrey Epstein's birthday in 2003, I think that's the year, before all the allegations about his pedophilic little island and everything, child sex trafficking and all the rest, before any of that came to light, Donald Trump, they are reporting that he sent a letter or was part of a letter or part of something that was sent to Jeffrey Epstein wishing him a happy 50th birthday. and apparently it included a picture of a naked woman, a drawing. And Trump said something about, long live, or, let's have many more years of keeping secrets, or something to that effect. Trump has come out now and vociferously denied it, saying it's fake news, his usual shtick, his usual rhetoric. Um, what do I believe? Doesn't matter. I'm not. Does Trump lie? Of course, all politicians lie, all businessmen lie, whichever hat he puts on. You know, so it's a saga, it's a drama, and I almost feel like that is something of a distraction right now, given the implications of what is happening in the Middle East, because the Middle East is going to blow up. I think it is inevitable. I think to a degree we're watching a script unfold for Bible believing Christians, of which I am one. You may want to pull out your Bible. Most will be familiar if you go to Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, Isaiah 17. It talks about the great city of Damascus ceasing to exist. I don't have a copy of my Bible here in my junk room. It's over on my dining room table. I don't feel like getting up and going to get it, but chapter 17, right at verse 1, it talks about that Damascus will cease to be a city, and there's an implication that there are cities around Damascus, kind of, the outlying area, that no one will live there, that it will become a place of flux, that only beasts, that only animals will live there. That, and I've heard some individuals have read that passage and have speculated that Damascus could be targeted in a nuclear fashion. And based on Isaiah 17, if things were to go nuclear, then I don't even think sheep could survive there, unless they're talking about herds, unless Isaiah was talking about herds of cockroaches. If if it is true what they say, then it is only cockroaches that will survive a nuclear Armageddon, nuclear holocaust. At any rate, number of people watching. Anyone else want to chime in on what's happening? I think what we could see is, I'll put a fine point on this and wrap things up. Turkey, Erdogan backed this HTS group to get rid of, to collapse the Bashar al-Assad regime. Bashar al-Assad had allied himself with both Russia and Iran. And I think Erdogan, perhaps speculation on my part, was not pleased to see Iranian influence extending into his territory, his neighborhood, right on his southern border. And so he wanted to diminish Iranian influence, Persian influence. He doesn't want Persia, Iran, to be the dominant player. And so he wants to be the dominant player. And so he backed HTS. I'm not going to try and pronounce the Hashir, whatever HTS stands for. It's an Islamic Shia group. Some contend that HTS is allied with Islamic State, Daesh. And so now you've got HTS in charge, allied with Turkey. And now you have Israel attacking under the guise, or under either for the reason or under the guise of the reason of protecting the minority Druze population in Syria. And so I think what we could see, and I'm loath to make predictions, but this is what I see happening. I see Turkey moving in to northern Syria and then maybe pushing south, and we could end up in direct conflict. And when we get into Ezekiel 37 and rather Ezekiel 38, 39, what many Christians refer to, especially dispensationalists, fundamentalist Christians refer to the Ezekiel 38, 39 war, where it talks about Gog of Magog, prince of Meshal, I can't pronounce it, and putting hooks into Gog and Magog, putting hooks in the mouth to draw them forward, to draw them in, to attack. And there are those who speculate it's unclear as to what does Gog of Magog refer. Is it Russia? Is it Ukraine? Is it, Korea? Who is it? Who's Gog of Magog? And the most common references I have heard say that it's, a region due north. And there has been speculation that it, in fact, could be Turkey. And I'm leaning in that direction myself, that it would be the Turks. And are the hooks being put in their mouths? And are they going to come at Israel? And then you have the second largest force in NATO, which has, I don't know how many F-16s, F-18s they have. They do not have F-35s, apparently. Although, from what I understand, Trump has been advocating pushing for Turkey to acquire F-35s, but they don't, as I understand things, they do not currently have F-35 fighter jets. But they have F-16s, F-18s, which are modern aircraft, unlike Iran. Iran is very advanced in drone technology, but they don't have an advanced fighter jet technology. When their president was recently killed, he was on a helicopter that was built in like 1968 or something, some old Bell helicopter, because Iran, ever since their Islamic Revolution of 1979, has basically gotten off the the industrial military complex has stopped supplying Iran for the past 40, 50 years, and so all their equipment is old and outdated. And whereas Turkey has a much more modern army, a much more capable army, and I haven't checked the population of Turkey, but I assume it's somewhere up in the 100 million. I don't know. I'm going to do a quick Google check. I reach over my coffee. Turkey population. My computer is going a little slow. All right, 85.33, at least according to Google, and that's as of 2023. So it wasn't at 85, 90 million. And Israel, by contrast, is not, I don't even think they have 10 million. It's 9 point something million. And even among those 9 point whatever million, you're looking at about 7 million who are Jewish. The rest are mostly Muslim, a few Druze, a few Christians, by marginal other groups. But at any rate, thank you for watching. I welcome your comments down below. Are we heading to World War III? Is Turkey going to get involved directly in direct warfare with the nation state of Israel? Because basically, Israel and Israel and Turkey are separated by Syria. So that's the open question. I am decidedly leaning in that direction. I think in the coming weeks, months, in the next year or so, that we're going to be seeing Israel and Turkey going at it directly. And I almost feel as if we're following a script, that this is prescribed and that it has to happen, and that it's all part of a larger agenda. And ultimately, as a Christian, what I take solace comfort in is knowing that God has his hands on the wheel. That thy will be done, thy kingdom come. And we shall see what happens. In the meantime, I'll end this with the blessing from the book of Numbers. I end a lot of my videos this way. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. And may the Lord God, creator of all things, may he grant you peace. That's the end of my video. You're welcome to like, share, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Appreciate Koji Malik, Nancy Walter, Sharunian. Appreciate everyone who chimed in. And probably going to be doing another live stream tomorrow night. So God bless. We'll talk to you soon.